A Modest Proposal. I stole the title and the concept for this video from Jonathan Swift, a brilliant mind who would have fit in perfectly with the current age. Swift loved dark humor, and I found that very appropriate to the meme mentality of today. One of the great controversies of this particular time is abortion. Oh, the nostalgia! I remember being a naive youth and seeing regular news reports of protests. It was the good old days.
Baby's being killed in there and they're sending her to jail!
And the furor never did die down completely, but it did get quieter. Until now, of course. At what time during a pregnancy is a woman past the point of legal abortion? In New York, that point does not exist. The Reproductive Health Act is a historic victory for New Yorkers and for our progressive values. Well, now that sounds just lovely. Why would a measure like that be controversial? Well, there is a reason. As we all know, late-term abortion is a bit different from other abortions. And that's what creates the controversy. That's why even most people of pro-choice perspectives disavow the practice of late-term abortion. They simply do not understand that an unborn fetus can present a hazard to a mother's physical health, and even her mental health. In such a case, when a woman feels threatened by her unborn child, there's only one thing to do: get him first. In the battle against unborn children, the passage of the Reproductive Health Act was such a victory that the esteemed Governor Cuomo painted the town red.
You are a sick fuck, you know that?
I think it is agreed by all parties that the prodigious number of children in the arms or on the backs or at the heels of their mothers is a very great additional grievance. But wouldn't it be marvelous if these late-term abortions could be put to some extra use? If it could help alleviate some of New York's other burdens? New York is facing a massive budget deficit, and clearly Trump is to blame for New York's tax problems. Due to his incompetence, the wealthy are leaving New York because they feel overtaxed. Now, even though the phrase "fuck Trump" is a sacred utterance, I'm not looking for someone to blame. I want to offer an idea that could help entice the rich taxpayers of New York to remain in their state, while at the same time creating a profit for the state that might alleviate some of their budget problems. It is New York, so other plans have been suggested, of course. I've always wondered what they do with the fetal remains after an abortion. Clearly there isn't a funeral. Well, in the case of well-formed late-term fetuses, perhaps those remains could fill the appetites of New York's wealthy citizens. I have been assured by a very knowing Venezuelan of my acquaintance that a fresh, young, healthy child is a most delicious, nourishing, and wholesome food, whether stewed, roasted, baked, or boiled, and I make no doubt that it will equally serve in a fricassee. Just think of it, an exclusive food so expensive that only the very wealthy could afford it, and by state law, naturally, it will be barred from purchase by anyone who is not a New York resident. The only way for the extravagant wealthy to partake would be to live in New York. Granted, the portions would be small, but if a deliberately exorbitant price is asked, say $15,000 or more a dish, and if that price is paid directly into the coffers of the state, that, along with the wealthy citizens remaining and paying taxes, really might help cut into the deficit. Along with the food, the New York fashionistas may flay the carcass, the skin of which, artificially dressed, will make admirable gloves for ladies and summer boots for fine gentlemen. And it could be that the extraordinary artists of the world's capital could put bones and other inedible parts to use in works of museum quality. These extraordinarily expensive status symbols would bring further money in. It could save the state. The monetary, culinary, and fashionable benefits of late-term abortion would show the world that in the end it was worth the brave struggle of this noble state to take on this controversial measure.